Welcome back to the Coppercast, the podcast providing you insights on education around the Copper Country Intermediate School District. I'm your host, Dave Sim, Public Engagement Specialist at the CCISD, and today we have a great episode focused on something that focuses on all great teaching, professional development. We'll be taking a look at the importance of ongoing training and support for our educators. And joining me to discuss this topic is Carla Strome, the General Education Director here at the Copper Country Intermediate School District. Carla oversees a broad array of programs designed to support educators across our region, and she'll share insights on why professional development matters and how it helps our teachers grow and thrive. Let's get started by hearing directly from Carla about her role and responsibilities at the CCISD.
So I oversee the general education instructional coaches and consultants who help to provide support to districts in a variety of content areas and around several topics and legislated mandates. I oversee the mental health services staff, which are clinicians as well as support people in the districts. And I oversee the my STEM director, which is the technology education, as well as science, mathematics, engineering. And I also oversee a behavioral instructional coach who works directly with districts to support behavior in grades K through 2 for kids that are struggling to adapt to the regular classroom setting.
Carla's been with the ISD for 24 years. She has a wealth of experience when it comes to education, both in the classroom and on the administrative side. One thing I wanted to understand is why professional development is so important for educators. Carla had some insights.
When you become a teacher, you come out fresh with lots of great ideas and all sorts of theory and best practices information about how to be a teacher in the classroom. And then you hit the classroom and you find that some of the theory that you learned in college, although it's valid theory, is difficult to put into practice. So there's that aspect of becoming a teacher and what it means to be a professional teacher and how to most effectively work with students in the classroom. That's a huge portion of the professional development that we do is around new teacher induction and making sure that teachers have the skill sets that they need to be successful in the classroom.
Many new teachers enter the classroom feeling overwhelmed because teaching is something that can take years to master or even get a handle on. Carla shared a bit more on the challenges new teachers face and how professional development can make a real difference.
Well, it's because oftentimes we have teacher candidates practice under the supervision of a seasoned teacher, a veteran teacher, who takes them on as either an intern or a student teacher when that time comes. It's a very controlled setting. You've got a teacher that's still ultimately responsible for those kids. And the purpose of the teacher is to jump in and bail out the student teacher if things go awry. And so they might get 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer, to have total control of the classroom. But ultimately, the children know, and the teacher knows, and the student teacher knows that the quote unquote real teacher is going to take back over at some point. And the real teacher is the one who's responsible. When you go into teaching and you have your first classroom, it's an exhilarating moment until you hit the first set of students that give you trouble. And then where do you turn? How do you get support? You're trying to do your best and you're trying to be the professional that you feel called to be. And it's very humbling and sometimes embarrassing to go to your administrator and say, "Hey, I'm at a loss here. I don't know what to do." And so there's that aspect of it. But it's also just, practice is the best teacher. It takes years to get good at teaching. It takes years to get good at just about anything if it's a complex skill, and teaching is a very complex profession to be in.
Carla's point lended itself to a study that I was looking at. According to a recent study by the Learning Policy Institute, teachers who receive 49 or more hours of professional development per year see an increase of 21% in student achievement. Even more, effective professional development has been shown to help retain teachers who are almost just as likely to stay in the profession for 5 years or more when they receive high-quality training. The retention rate is vital, particularly given the current teacher shortages we're seeing nationwide. We also talked about how the topics for professional development are chosen. It's not just a top-down approach, it's collaborative, involving feedback from teachers, administrators, and research.
So our team looks very closely at research, new research that's coming out, and all of the professional development that we provide, we embed in research and best practices. And so just like in the medical field, as new research comes out and treatment evolves, same thing with teaching. And so, and professional development allows us, not just for new teachers, but for all teachers, to provide that opportunity to find out what the newest research is and how to best address teaching and pedagogy and the methodology that you use in the classroom. So there's that aspect of that. So research becomes a cornerstone of what we look at for planning, but then also for forecasting what our teachers are going to need next year, the following year, and so on.
And that insight is valuable. By looking at research and real-time feedback, the ISD ensures that teachers and educators are supported not only by the latest educational findings, but also through each other's experiences. She talked about the benefits of professional development for teachers at all career stages, not just for new teachers, but where it benefits experienced ones.
There are a lot of benefits. First of all, you're oftentimes sitting with like-minded individuals that are excited about learning. And it can be very refreshing. It can also be very, it just validating. If you're doing things in the classroom and you think that you're doing the right things because it seems to be working, and then you read some research that actually validates that what you're doing is completely what you should be doing. It's a very validating moment for teachers. Like your gut told you it was the right thing to do, and then you read the research and it validates what you were doing. And it's and hopefully and there's a good chance that there was some research at some point that guided you into doing what you were doing in the classroom. So there's that. There are times when you're learning new stuff. That there's others that are in the same boat as you are. You develop a peer group that you can then have a discussion with and talk about implementation challenges. You build a community. You build a support network, especially if it's a sustained professional learning series where there's 4 or 5 or 6 sessions. You develop friends outside of just your colleagues in your district that are doing the same work that you're doing. And that's pretty cool.
Carla also shared some insights into how professional development can be tailored to meet the specific needs of different districts and schools.
We also do surveys. Every single professional development opportunity that we provide to teachers, we collect feedback. And we try really hard to meet those needs. We get anecdotal feedback from administrators. Here's what we're seeing in our buildings, and this is what we're seeing that our teachers might need. We get people that call and ask, the administrators or lead teachers in districts that will say, gosh, we're really struggling with this. Is it possible for you to provide some professional learning around that? So we use all of those different tools that we have, whether it's anecdotal or survey data or feedback forms or research. All of that goes into planning future professional learning opportunities for teachers.
According to a recent article by Power School, effective professional development needs to be ongoing, job embedded, and specific to the context of teachers. This idea of job embedding training is powerful because it means teachers are learning in an environment that's directly connected to what they see in their daily experiences. One aspect that Carla emphasized was leveraging the expertise of our veteran teachers.
We certainly working through the administrator is helpful. Like, if there's a teacher out there that's saying, we really, really need professional development around this particular topic. Talking to the administrator, and a lot of times, if we're at a principal's roundtable meeting or if we're at a superintendent's roundtable meeting, these types of things will come up. And someone will say, "Hey, does anyone else feel like their staff needs professional development around a particular topic?" And if the consensus around the table is yes, that is something that we see a need for, then at that point our team can put together something and offer it to the teachers or to the administrators, whichever group it is that needs the training or is asking for the training. If it's a specific thing for a district, if a district wants to take a deep dive into a certain methodology for teaching, and we have someone on staff that can help support them with that, then the staff can be deployed to that district and do a district-wide professional development or school-wide professional development offering for those people on staff there.
She also mentioned that professional development is a two-way street where teachers can not only learn but share their expertise.
We love to tap the expertise. We have an amazing teaching force locally. We've got a fantastic mix of veterans that have been in the trenches for a long time, and a lot of people that are new to the teaching field, and people, of course, in between. And so we've used veteran teachers for years to help us with professional learning, especially around things like classroom management. The veteran classroom managers that are fantastic at working with students and getting them to, do what they need them to do in the classroom to provide a really good learning environment for everyone and are successful with student achievement. They're very skilled people, and we would never presume to say that we know more than a veteran that's been in the classroom for 35 years that just really has a great handle on teaching and learning. And so it's been a privilege over the years to work with some of those veterans and to use them to help with classroom management and overall classroom dynamics and process and procedure for those teachers that are willing to help with that.
To emphasize the point, research shows that when professional development is led by peers, it tends to be more impactful because it's grounded in real class experiences. This kind of peer-led development helps build a sense of community and shared purpose amongst each other. Before we wrap up, I asked Carla for her thoughts on how teachers can access these professional development opportunities.
So there are a variety of ways. So the ISD does have an event section on its website, copperisd.org. There's an events tab that you can click on and you can scroll through and look. There's, if it's a sustained series, there's usually a point person here at the ISD that they can always email the General Education Department at the ISD. And if we are not familiar with what they're asking about, or if we don't know that we have something coming up that meets their needs, and then we can either push it out to another department if there's something being offered, through someone else, or we can help access, there are virtual offerings across the state a lot of times that we might be familiar with that we could direct someone to if they were looking for something super specific. And then we certainly, when we get requests for things, we do keep those. And so we have the February 14th area-wide in-service day coming up in February, and we are starting our planning for that. And so if it's something that we can address, through a couple of sessions, or if someone's looking to spearhead professional learning, there are opportunities for us to utilize them on that day and then do something sustained, beyond that.
So for any of our educators listening, make sure you check out the events tab at our website, Copper ISD, to see what's coming up. There are lots of chances to get involved, learn something new, or even potentially lead a session for yourself. That brings us to the end of this episode. Professional development is about so much more than just training. It's growth, community, and giving educators the tools they need to help students succeed now and into the future. Big thank you to Carla Strome for her insights today, and thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the Coppercast so you never miss an episode. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms, including YouTube. Thank you for listening and supporting a lifetime of learning.